Alright, welcome to Those Guys. I'm D, and this is Lady Killer right here.
What's up?
So, to introduce ourselves, we're just getting a little background for this show. This show is pop culture, entertainment, BSing around.
Current affairs as well.
Current affairs.
We try to appeal to every audience out there. It doesn't matter to us if we're terribly relevant or not, but we like to express the greater times in our past to give everybody the whole pop culture shock into what everybody remembers.
True. So we're not going to be politically correct, right?
No, not terribly. It doesn't matter. I mean, we're just two guys just talking, just having fun,
and everything.
Just doing our thing,
So we're gonna talk about today, like our adventurous day or adventurous week. Like,
right.
what's the most interesting thing that's been going on for you this week?
Most interesting thing. I mean, right now it's I don't have too much going, but I like to go out and have a good time. Whenever it is. I mean, I got a lot of, I don't have too much whatever going on, but whenever I do, it's, I go out, have a good time for those few hours. I feel invincible, and I can't replace that. It's irreplaceable for me right now.
So you basically went to Cowboys. How was that?
I went to that bar. Yeah, it was pretty good time.
Yeah, true.
I mean, what'd you do all week? What'd you do all week, Dave?
Well, last week I went to Valencia, and this week we were supposed to do something, and then end up goofing around and BSing and everything. I think the most interesting thing was that Facebook group I was talking about.
Right, dude.
The Purge and everything.
The Purge, man. I mean, I don't know if that's ever going to be real. I'll tell you what is actual, man. I mean, we've experienced a couple of big things that happened the other day. Number one, OJ getting out of prison. How about that? The Juice is now out of prison. Can you believe that? And then number two, we lost that guy from Lincoln Park.
The Lincoln Park guy didn't it. It surprised me. I kind of like Lincoln Park. I know you hate Lincoln Park.
I'm not a Lincoln Park fan. I mean, I think it's a travesty that he had been lost. I mean, it's not a good thing. It's never good to lose anybody. And he wasn't a bad person. I can't say anything about him. I don't know him, but maybe he gave a lot back to society. And he was a kind soul. People liked him. But when it came down to it, it wasn't. It was a terrible thing. I will say that, regardless of the fact that I wasn't a fan of Lincoln Park. But I will say that it was a travesty based on that.
I mean, my whole thing is that it came on social media,
right?
And, the whole OJ thing, everybody was talking about it.
Yeah, I mean OJ, it was different. Every time I looked on the whole, on the online on FB online, it everybody was just blogging about he died, the Lincoln Park guy died, and I was and nobody talked about OJ. Everything else on the TV, everybody was talking about OJ. OJ was the only thing that mattered about that. That was and they had tailgating parties for OJ's, him getting out of prison, and he's not officially released until October. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I heard.
Yeah, it's one of those things with OJ. It's our generation is we only know him as the guy who was accused of killing his wife and his lover.
I mean, it's debatable. We don't know if he actually did it. There are probably at least two people I've been told, two people who have said that that they know the truth if OJ did it or not. But he also wrote a book that said, "If I did it."
Yeah, I mean, he did write that book.
I mean, he did write that book, but you never know.
But I was gonna make the point, even though we're aware of him as he was this great football star, but we've never seen him play football, so we only know him as this thing, and
right.
And honestly, for me, he's more provable. To me, he's more suspect of killing his wife and her lover or whatever. and to me, more than any other case in celebrity history.
Right.
That's the thing. Like people were saying, "Oh, free," but I'm like, I told them just to let OJ rot in jail. I don't care, dude.
I mean, yeah, it's either one, either or. I mean, it doesn't really make any difference to me. I mean, the guy has never bothered me, but I will say he is a talented individual from his past. When he was playing at USC and then playing for Buffalo, he was a talented individual. Also, with that, I've seen, other people saying that, if OJ hadn't been drafted to Buffalo, he would have never met Nicole. He would have never had Robert Kardashian as an attorney, and the Kardashians would have never been famous today, and we would never have ever had to have the issue with them. I don't know if that was actually the case.
But yeah, but the thing is, like Kim Kardashian's, I think it was her father was on the legal team.
Yeah, he was Robert Kardashian.
But like my whole thing is that like
played by David Schwimmer on the OJ, the People versus OJ Simpson.
I still got to see that. I heard that was like it looked pretty good, but I still got to like see it. But I think like America's still hung up on that trial.
Right.
And it's like it's one of those things where it's like, man, you just like gotta get over it. Like, okay, it was a big deal, but like
that happened over 20 years ago.
That's what I'm saying, like 1994, dude. Like, like
I mean, the Juice. Like I said, the Juice was a promising athlete, very good at what he did. There's a lot of athletes who have let people down, and he's not the only one. He wasn't the first, and he won't be the last. Having him out, and it's weird how we selected to be talking about O.J. Simpson as our first show here. So
yeah, it's interesting because like he's been talked to death.
Right.
Even Dave Chappelle came back on Netflix a few months ago, and like his whole skit was just talking about like other things, but going back to OJ, and I'm like,
right. I mean, I wonder if anybody. I've seen people, for Halloween. Mock Bruce Jenner as him becoming a woman. I've seen people dress up as Ray Rice, who knocked his wife out in an elevator, and they would drag a fake woman, blow-up woman, as a guy.
like the Ray Rice costume?
Yeah, Ray Rice, a guy who's in a Ray Rice costume. He would be walking around, in a Ravens costume, and then be like, dragging his woman by her feet as he was walking around. I thought that was pretty awful. I mean, hey, if you wanted to add insult to injury, you could have had him walk around in a wife beater, putting Rice on it with his number.
Wait, you actually saw this?
Yeah, I'd seen this. I wonder if the whole OJ thing will be, I wonder if this whole thing will enter in pop culture. People will be walking out, with OJ, a backpack of OJ with his trophy cases.
And a knife in there?
Yeah, and a knife in his hand.
With a bloody glove?
With a bloody glove, wearing either a Bills jersey or a USC jersey walking around. Or a shirt says, "I'm the Juice."
I'm the Juice with Nicole's body in there.
Man, that's evil. We'll probably get a lot of heat for that, but we're just two guys just poking fun at something. I mean, we don't really mean this,
But that right there would be like a great costume. Like the most interesting Halloween costume was like a dude. He was a prison inmate and he had like a boner. Like it was.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, come on, you're in prison. I mean, what are you gonna do,
dude? Yeah, but like it was weird because I was like 20, and I was hanging out with some friends.
And you'd seen this.
And we were at a Halloween party, and it was weird. The Halloween party just ended up being like a fight. Like a fight broke out, and I was like,
"That's pretty cool, though."
Like it was cool because I was like, I like all the dudes like got in a big fight. I was like,
man, they should have had a bouncer there, man. I would have called Patrick Swayze from Roadhouse to maintain that party, man, because nobody was a bouncer there, but he was the cooler. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, I think like I seen the Patrick Swayze movie where he was a ghost, and I seen The Outsiders.
Right. Patrick. Now to jump on to something else. Patrick Swayze was, he had passed, 8 years ago. We missed the guy. He was a talented singer, tough guy, Texan, gifted actor, athlete, lovable individual. And he had made many movies, and he was, great on Dirty Dancing. He killed it on Roadhouse. You know, I will never forget those performances that he did.
Yeah.
You know, he was great on with Ghost.
Yeah.
Ghost, he was awesome in. Just everything that he did. When he was on that one where he was a drag queen with Wesley Snipes and John
Leguizamo.
Yeah, Leguizamo, and then
that was an interesting movie though. Too. Like,
it was funny. I thought it was great. I thought it was hilarious.
It was interesting because. It was an interesting movie because it was like the only one that did a great job being a woman.
Wesley Snipes was a little too buff for that.
Buff and masculine? I'm like, damn,
he
dude.
was kind of like, he reminded me of Dennis Rodman in that drag. You know?
Could you imagine Dennis
Man,
Rodman?
I'm feeling all lightheaded. But Dennis Rodman, when he did that whole drag thing.
Oh, yeah, that was the weirdest thing. Like, I was growing up in the 90s, like, I always knew he was a basketball player.
Yeah.
But, like...
And he was wrestling with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And he was a part of the NWO.
Do you remember when Dennis Rodman came and he dressed up in a wedding, like...
And now, look at him now. He's BFFs with Kim Jong-il, or Kim Jong-un, sorry.
Yeah, like, but damn, man, that dude, he was a talented player, but he was strange with green hair and stuff.
Yeah, he was colorful, man. He was a colorful individual, man. He was, he was great when he did it, man. Gosh, but how did we go from Patrick Swayze to Dennis Rodman?
It's just some random topics.
Yeah,
man. It's our show, dude. It's just like
it's just what we do. This is what we do. We are guys who've known each other for a few years, and we go at pop culture topics like wolves on a carcass. So I mean,
like a
wolves on a carcass. There you go.
Or like dudes on Cody. Oh man. But yeah, I was. That was if Dennis Rodman had been in that movie with the drag queen movie and
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting movie.
I mean, you put him and then you put RuPaul in there. RuPaul was in that. Actually, I'm sorry, he was.
He was?
Yeah, he hosted a drag show. Dude.
Oh yeah, that is true.
I'll tell you what. I know someone who says he's a better woman than me, and I've been a woman my whole life.
Yeah, I mean, like the RuPaul is doing it big. Like
RuPaul, RuPaul, I got to give it to RuPaul.
Yeah,
RuPaul's not. RuPaul's. I don't know what RuPaul's talents are, but
his talents may be his secret.
I don't know what they are, but that guy's he's a piece of work. I'll say that. And if RuPaul's probably going to be listening to this, hey, give us a buzz. Hey, we'd like to have you on our show, maybe.
Yeah, we got to get RuPaul on the show, dude.
Yeah,
do you think we could do it? Like,
I don't know, man. Could we?
Yeah, I mean, I think eventually we'll get like celebrity guests or somebody.
We gotta get somebody. We'll get some more people on the show, and we'll make this a little more interesting. But for now, I mean, I really wish that if we could have had Swayze. Swayze. He also did Point Break.
Yeah, he was a
villain in Point Break.
Yeah, and he was in that. Was he Dirty? He's in Dirty Dancing, right?
Dirty Dancing. Yeah, we already discussed that. He did. The Outsiders.
The Outsiders.
He was the big brother.
Yeah,
and that he was the breadwinner. The guy who worked for a living.
That's true. Didn't he die on the same day as Farrah Fawcett and Michael Jackson?
He died. Let's see, 2009, I believe.
And he died.
He died. Let's say he died along with Ed McMahon. Michael Jackson, Farrah Fawcett, Billy Mays. The OxyClean. Hi, Billy Mays here, bringing you OxyClean. That guy, and it was those names. I was like, man, 2009 was a killer. For
but it's funny how could you imagine the OxyClean guy's doing the commercial, and he says. But it only doesn't work. The only time it doesn't work is after sex.
Oh man,
that would suck. But the OxyClean stuff actually kind of works, though. I mean, I've tested it out. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, OxyClean, dude. I got some stains on my my Jackets tee right now, and I gotta get some OxyClean on that. It's basically 100% cotton. It'll take it out.
Yeah,
I got a little bit of stainage on there, but it's all good.
Yeah, I know you've been hanging out with those dudes.
Oh yeah, totally.
But yeah,
this is what we do, people. We bust on each other a lot. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, and this is the watered down version.
Yeah, watered down. This is all watered down. I guess I don't know if you want to call it that. I mean, we're always hammering each other.
I think like after like we should do like when we do this like we should do like an after like hours like we just get all X-rated.
We'll see.
The X-rated.
Well, we gotta do it this way first for now. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know, man's got to eat, but when it comes down to it, man, I mean, with other pop culture topics, what else been happening? What has been happening in this world of pop culture that we call that?
Oh well, I know that the Dunkirk movie came out, the World War I movie by Christopher Nolan. It came out today. Dunkirk. It's set in war.
Oh yeah, that came out.
And then,
there's always a new movie coming out every week.
And then I think last week the Dawn of the new Planet of the Apes movie, War of the Planet of the Apes came out.
Right.
And I haven't seen that. Like the last movie me and Elle saw was my cousin saw was. It wasn't Dunkirk. It was something. It was something like.
Hey, should we get Elle on the show right now?
Eventually, like soon. Next episode.
Let's start it with us.
So next episode, yes.
To the next episode.
Hold up. That's a good song, but like, yeah, I've been like the last movie we saw was the Spider-Man Homecoming, which was actually really good.
I hadn't seen it yet,
but I don't like go to the movies as much as I used to when I was a kid because of like, you know, sights and like I could just other things. Like,
it's amazing, man. I'm surprised the movie theater has lasted as long as it has so far. I think that maybe, you know, something about the movie theater is alluring and nostalgic that people just don't want to like necessarily watch it online, but they still choose to go to the movie theater when it comes out. You know, or either or, and a lot of people choose to, you know, watch it on something else. You know, there's a lot of different websites out there to where you can pull up the full movie before it's actually released. Maybe, as far as I know, I've never actually.
Yeah, but like I think what it is that like. I think it's different with music. I think like with music, it's like you're not gonna pay like this much for a song. Like you're just gonna bring it up on YouTube and just listen to it, or go on Spotify.
You know, they had what, so many of those blasted music things that you did, like what Kazaa, Cher Bear.
Yeah, and
man, everything from that past time. I never did any of that.
I think it was movies is different. Like movies, it's a visual experience. Like for me, like I would only go to a movie if it's like a big summer blockbuster I like. Like I would. But for like a lot of the things, like if I don't care for it that much, like I'll wait for it to get on like Netflix or on demand or something like that.
Right.
And I think it's like it has to be like people now only really go to the movies if it's a big blockbuster type of thing. Like if it's the next Superman movie, like you know what I mean.
Right.
They're I don't think that people are gonna go like see if it's like the next the next Jackass movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, Jackass has made a lot of, you know, those guys made a big name for themselves, and they become a part of pop culture. You know, I remember the first, one of the first episodes of it, you know, I mean, way back in like 2000.
Yeah.
You know, and Johnny Knoxville was doing some kind of like, you know, he was testing out mace and, tasers and, other things like that, and people filmed them, and you know, Jackass was born that way with Johnny Knoxville doing it. And you know, I mean, I don't know what the shoot. I don't even know if those guys will come up with another movie. Maybe they will. I mean, you know, even without Ryan Dunn, you know, the presence of Ryan Dunn being around, but you know, I mean, only time will tell, and you know, to whatever it is. But you know, with those guys, man, I've seen Bam Margera recently. And you know the guy's looking better, from what I've heard. He's skateboarding again, man. He had for a while there. He was drinking heavily, and from what I heard, he was just under fire a lot. And you know, but he's back into it. I mean, you know, Bam's looking better. You know, Bam's doing better. So I'd love to see another flick of theirs. You know, if they can get another one out there, another several. So. You know.
I mean, I like for me, I kind of like the Bam Margera, and then like the Tom Greens and like that late '90s, early
Yeah.
2000s. That was like on like MTV. I didn't care much for like Jackass. I was like, man, this is like so ridiculous. But
It's ridiculous, but it's genius. And
it is a genius.
they set themselves up for, fame and success. And, I mean, hey, if that means, breaking a few bones or getting your hand smashed in something or hitting your face against the wall, I don't know. Hey, so be it. I'd do it.
But like, I would do the show if it was like somebody I hated, and I would just throw them out the window. The glass door, like, just like, hey Daniel Bersini, just be the intro to the new Jackass. Like, I'm wondering if they might come back with it, because they came back with the X-Files. They're coming back with Tales from the Crypt. They're coming back like with a couple shows, but like. It'd be interesting, but like I never like it was a crazy idea, but like for me, I just like didn't like it that much or care for much. But if people like it, like, but I understand, like, it was genius, like just people just doing this like crazy ridiculous stuff, and they were filming it not in like traditional high definition cameras. It was just regular, like, I remember that one time was it on Jackass where like they had like one of the dude's father on the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
And they pranked him and everything, man. Like,
yeah, they did. And they had, I remember it was, Phil Margera was on the toilet, and what was it? They had he was pranking him in there. There was a time when he got in his van, that van that Phil had, and Bam lit off fireworks in there. And, it was early in the morning. It was before sunrise. And that's what they did, and it blew it all up. And he was like, "Oh, Bam, I gotta go to work and everything." But it's funny. The things that he did, man. His parents, would take it, man. They would take all of it, man. He could do anything to his parents. They wouldn't really get mad at him. It was funny. But yeah, Phil. He was just. He got up and he went out and he was going to work, and the fireworks went off in his car. Man, it was pretty hilarious, the things that they do.
Could you imagine Eddie Murphy from Metro, who was on Jackass, and they were doing all those pranks? And you're like,
he goes, "You do that to me one more time, I swear I'm going to come in there and I'm going to bust your hide."
Do you understand?
Do you understand? And he does the whole serious thing. Like, they walk into the room. What if he catches them red-handed before they're about to do something? He sits in the room and he's doing that look.
Yeah, he was like, "I'll put a gun in and blow your brains out." You understand?
Oh man, I'm feeling all lightheaded just laughing at this.
If anybody's curious, there's a movie in the late '90s called Metro with Eddie Murphy. He played a cop, and it's a serious movie.
His name was Scott Roper. He played a cop. It was great. It was in San Francisco.
and the whole point was like he was trying to stop this villainous bad guy or whatever. And it's supposed to be like Eddie Murphy being serious, but there's this one part where he goes visits the criminal in jail. And he tells them off, but it just comes off funny.
It comes off funny. It's a lot of vulgar language was in it, but it was funny, and I laughed at it, man. I just remember the first time I kept playing it over and over. It was hilarious. I mean, Eddie Murphy. I mean, to go from Jackass to or Bam Margera, whoever, to Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy. I mean, Eddie Murphy. Eddie, come on, man. What's going on with you? I remember you did 48 Hours.
Trading Places. SNL.
Yeah.
Beverly Hill Cops.
Yeah.
The Nutty Professor. And then, like, Shrek.
And then, And then all those, after those movies, it just kind of fell apart, man. Norbit, Pluto Nash, come on.
Dude, yeah. It's just like... And the thing is, like... Norbit is so like stupid and ridiculous. Like, it has some funny parts, but it's one of his worst. I think Eddie Murphy is just getting old.
Yeah, he's turning into one of those ancients. That they say out there. Should I tell them that story?
Yeah, you got it. You got to tell them.
All right, I got a buddy. Of course, I have friends. Believe it or not, I have a friend whose parents went to Ireland. And they went to Galway, Ireland. His dad was telling me, him and his wife. And he told me, his dad was saying there was hot chicks everywhere. It was a college town full of hot chicks. and it was about 60-something degrees, and there was these girls dressed up all scantily clad. And there was these two guys sitting not far from us, and one of them was saying, "Hey, did you see those two really nice-looking girls walking by? Yeah, you seen them? They're sitting over there, over by those ancients." And my friend's mother was like, "Did they just call us ancients? What is that? I've never heard of that." And then they were all like, "I guess it's a term for old people."
But like, it's kind of like disrespectful at the same time.
It's demeaning. But it's funny.
It's like, look at you, you ancient dude. Stop being ancient.
Hey, you're so ancient. Like, you couldn't beat me up, man. I mean, I'm like 20, 25 years younger than you. I mean, come on, let's be real.
Like the old guy, like the old person, like they come in like a stroll walker and all slow. Like,
yeah, that's like when I remember it was. What was it? Eric Bischoff, man. I remember on one episode of Monday Night Raw, back when it was the Ruthless Aggression era, Steve Austin had brought up a thing where, and this is all part of the whole ancient thing, with Eddie Murphy and everything. But it was funny because he had stated in the Raw versus Nitro DVD that he issued a challenge to Vince McMahon. I'll have to show you the video. He challenged Vince McMahon to a fight, and he was basically saying he could whoop the guy around. He's all like, "Yeah, I remember that, I did," and when it comes to Vince McMahon, getting beat up, I mean, he's the champ, I mean, there's not a lot of guys around who haven't kicked Vince McMahon around. And he was all like, any day, any country in the arena in the country. I mean, the guy's like 20, 25 years older than me. So, there's no way, I could lose to him. And then he's standing right there and he's like, "You can what? You could beat me up." He was all like, "Yeah, don't," it was taken out of context. He's all like, and then he said, "You know what? After all this, yeah, I'm going to make a blockbuster announcement, and it's going to be in my wrestling gear. And after I make that announcement, I'm going to call you out, Eric. And then I guess we're going to find out whether or not you can kick my hide." And then, he's all like, "Hey, when it gets down to it, I still got that whole karate thing," Bischoff says. So,
yeah.
You got to, hey, I wonder what a fight between, Eric Bischoff's older now. And Vince McMahon, I mean, let's be real.
He's an ancient.
The guy's an ancient.
Yeah.
They're both ancients, but Vince is even more of an ancient.
But it's crazy how, like, Vince was, like, one of, like, the few wrestling owners, like, he was CEO. He owned WWE. Or it was WWF at the time. Like,
yeah, I mean,
and he came in and he fought, like, and it was such a genius idea. But like he took steroids, dude.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about it. I remember when the Hogan trial was going on, he stared a federal indictment in the face.
Yeah,
with all that, and what happened was he stared a federal indictment, and he had one of his most famous wrestlers testify against him virtually, and Hogan, denied the fact that Vince never distributed steroids to me and everything, and everybody asked, "Hey Vince, do you do steroids?" He says, "Well, let's just say anything's legal if you don't get caught." Virtually, saying, "Yeah, I do it," but nobody really. I don't tell anybody I do it, and you have people like superstar Billy Graham, telling people that Vince. Was distributing stuff like that, I think, if, correct me if I'm wrong, but, he had even also said that he'd seen Hulk Hogan juicing. So, these people are naturally big men, but when it gets down to it.
I'm so disappointed in Hulk Hogan. Like, he always talked about vitamins and
veggies. Say your prayers, take your vitamins.
Yeah, right.
Hey, you got him doing this, but hey, they always say he's a well-rounded, nice guy, and I think that even after the whole incident that he had going on, I think that, I think that it was wrong to do what they did because Hogan was just telling a story, and those words, the N words just got thrown in there, but he was telling people where he lived, and that's what they threw the word around like it was just a thing, but it was funny. To get back on that topic here in a second, it was funny. It was Bill Maher recently came under fire for that with his show. He was talking to one of the senators from Nebraska, and they were talking about what it was when they were talking about Halloween. people out in Halloween, Nebraska, adults don't dress up. And people out in New York City dress up. And he's like, I got to get out to Nebraska more. And he says, hey, you're welcome. We'd love to have you work out in the fields. And he says, work in the fields. Senator, I'm a house. You know the rest. And, Ice Cube called him out on it and said, I'm not attacking you, Bill. I like you. I like your show. But, when, this is our word and, white people can't have it back. And, when if it's another brother calling me that, I don't feel offended. It doesn't feel like venom. But when a white person says it, it feels like venom, even if they don't mean it, But he put that under wraps, and that was it. But with Hogan doing that, I think Hogan should be given another chance, if anything.
I think that I don't condone anybody using the N-word, but I get it, when people of color, specifically African Americans or even Afro Latinos,
or Afro anything, Afro Native Americans, Afro whatever,
Caribbeans, use it. Okay, I understand it, but at the same time, you can't I don't get the whole I think people know the basic history of that word, and it's a degrading. It's a
demeaning word, and it's not to be used. I mean, we're we're in the future now. I mean, everybody's every race is equal now.
But I at the same time,
there's still racism. Racism will always forever exist.
Yeah, but I understand I understand because I happen to be part of that group, but at the same time, you can't get mad if you use it a lot and it's in rap songs. It's a very tricky word, but white people are gonna use it. White people
they use it. Yeah, white people use it for joking, but
but then I think it gets intense when it's so degrading at the same time.
Yeah,
and I think that if popular culture, people of color in popular culture stop using that word, then it doesn't really have any power. And I'm not saying white people won't stop using that word.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really is, but you could always try.
You could always try. You know what I mean? He got blasted, and it's I think with Bill Maher,
Bill Maher. I think Bill Maher. It's more of I don't know, because Bill Maher is a liberal, and he was wasn't as under fire. Had he been conservative, man, he would have been pretty blasted
for it.
But it shouldn't be anybody's political beliefs or standpoints of view that whether if somebody is conservative or liberal, you shouldn't blast them for anything. I mean, they're free to think what they want.
Yeah, and I think with Bill Maher, and I kind of like him, but I think that he, even though he's a liberal and I think he's kind of funny, he's interesting, but I think that also he supports gay rights and atheism more than he supports civil rights and the rights of people of color,
right?
And that just shows because
I mean, hey, if you're gonna be anything, hey, support racial equality.
Yeah,
if you're gonna support all those two other things, man, you gotta support racial equality
too. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand how there's liberals or there's people, not all liberals, but that they support gay rights or atheism or feminism. Or they'll have liberal,
or just general. I don't know if it's just atheism, but I don't know if it's just atheism, but it's different types of religions. There's there's tons of them: Hinduism, Buddhism, and everything else. But I mean, there are liberals out there who are tolerant liberals.
Yeah,
and there are, those are the ones I could have a conversation with without them, being that, them not screaming and crying at me. Oh, you said this, you got to take it back, or we can't do this, we can't do that. I mean, look.
I was gonna, what I was mentioning. Yeah, I feel what you're saying, but when I was finishing off, I was saying that there's some liberals out here they only support feminism or they only support gay rights, but they don't support any other that's in that field. But how can you be for one oppressed group and not for the other?
Exactly.
I don't that's what I'm saying. And
I mean, it makes me wonder what Hogan is. What's Vince McMahon? Vince McMahon. I mean, who knows?
Who knows?
But when it comes down to it.
But I do I think like with politics is such a tricky topic that I not to get into.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know much, but
I mean, it's politics and religion, because let's say out in the Scandinavian countries,
yeah,
especially, you don't want to get into those two topics with anybody. Those are two topics that you want to like stray away from. But hey, I'm a firm believer in you can believe what you want. I don't care what you believe as long as you don't shove your beliefs down my throat. I don't care.
Yeah. It's just like one of those like interesting things. Is like people get like so like heated. Like I know people that like they just hate Trump. And then like I trolled them. I'm like, man, Trump is a great guy. Yeah, like, they get all upset.
I mean, hey, I don't hate Trump. I would never be for Hillary. Ugh. But I never liked the Clintons in general. But it's whatever to me. It's like, hey, the guy, he's not a politician. Maybe we need somebody who's not afraid to pull the trigger. Maybe we need somebody who's not a politician this time, who's worried about getting elected in the next round. Maybe we need somebody who says what's on his mind and he's not afraid. That's when I thought about that on the whole Trump thing. I was like, hey, I'm not saying he's a saint, but compared to the things that Hillary's done, dude, he looks like a choir boy. Let's be real.
But like the way you were describing it, like we need somebody to say what's on their mind. Would have been like a better candidate instead of Trump? Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, he go around stunning people.
Like he's throwing the beers, give me a hell
yeah. And then we got, or what if Vince ran for politics? I mean, the guy, have you seen him now?
Yeah.
He's totally ancient. He's more ancient than ancient is.
But the thing is, like there have been wrestlers that ran for politics. Look at Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, Jesse Ventura. He was governor of Minnesota, and he was great. He's crazy, but he's great.
But this dude is like very intelligent in politics, and like you hear him and stuff.
And he loves his country. Yeah. I mean, he had that show Conspiracy Theory back, which got canceled because of, I think he had some kind of metal in his body that, he was tired of getting on planes, and, he had the whole thing to where you go into the metal detectors.
Yeah.
He had some metal replacement. But, hey, I'd say bring back the show. That was great, and, I always remember that. And
But I was gonna say, like, it's interesting because he used to be a Navy SEAL. I think like, he used to be in the military.
Jesse Ventura used to be everything. Man.
Yeah, he used to be everything.
Was he not? I mean, he was a Navy SEAL, a politician,
a stripper,
a wrestler, a commentator, a party clown. I don't know,
a badass,
a rodeo clown, a biker.
Yeah,
the guy. I mean, hey, I got a friend who's exactly like that. Who doesn't sit around and does whatever with his time, and he finds everything to do. I just wish that if I had exactly that power, wouldn't be sitting around. I'd do whatever it is I felt like.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like I think it's official. Like The Rock is running for president.
Is he?
Yeah, it's official. Might be a joke, but like, why wouldn't it? Because like Jesse Ventura went into politics. Like,
the one thing The Rock doesn't have to worry about is gray hair.
Yeah, gray hair. Yeah. Like I just want to see that, like his campaign. Like it'd be cool if he ran for president and he used the Rock persona. Like that'd be the funniest thing.
Yeah, it would be. He'd lay the smackdown on some people, man. But it would be very entertaining, man. This last election was very entertaining.
It was very entertaining. It was like, what the hell is going on? We have a troll Donald Trump, and we have like Hillary Clinton, which a lot of people just hate.
You got a troll like Donald Trump, and then you got a conniving, two-faced piece of work like Hillary. So but yeah, with that, hey, I would love to see Vincent Kennedy McMahon run, if anything.
Yeah, if anything.
I mean, the guy should retire from what he's done because his company's just boring now. I would retire and I would go into politics if I was him.
Could you imagine Booker T ran for president?
Hey, Booker T is running for mayor of Houston.
He's what?
Booker T is running for mayor his hometown of Houston, Texas.
For the mayor?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, look it up. You should look it up, man. He's running for mayor of Texas, but or not Texas. I'm sorry, mayor of Houston, and it would be interesting just to see that. But I'll tell you what, it would be even more interesting if Vince did run for president, man. I mean, can you imagine? I think Vince is a workaholic also.
I think Vince reminds me of like the little Donald Trump in him.
Vince is a workaholic. The guy. They always say something about Vince. Vince is like, older than dirt now. I mean, look at him. But, the guy is about, the guy, everybody always says he's like part robot. I mean, the guy doesn't, no one's ever seen the guy break down. He doesn't go in the bathroom, change his batteries. Everybody's like, what are you made of, dude? Like, what is it with you? And Vince, sarcastically it said, people are all like, when it comes to your time, you get whenever you pass it down, how do you feel about how it's going to happen? He says, I'm probably never going to die at this point in time. I'll probably always be working, but if something happens to me, maybe, I'll be happy to hand it down.
So Vince McMahon is like the Terminator. He's like, he doesn't feel pity.
Yeah, he doesn't feel any emotion. I mean, the guy is part robot. He works and works and works all the time.
Do you remember that part of Terminator where Kyle Reese is like, that's all he does.
That's all he does. Yeah, that's all he does. It's like Vince. All right. To go into Vince, let's speak about Vince now.
Yeah,
Vince is a for those of you who are listening in and don't know who Vincent Kennedy McMahon is, he's chairman and owner of the World Wrestling Entertainment, formerly known as World Wrestling Federation. He is a promoter. He's a third generation promoter. Right behind his father, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, or Vincent J. McMahon, and then his father, Jess McMahon, and now he's got his kids in the mix, and it's a family ran business, but the McMahons are a very powerful family, and I got a close friend of mine who doesn't live too far from them, so Alex Baldwin, remember?
Oh,
yeah, Alex doesn't live. He lives. I can't give out where exactly the McMahons live. Safety reasons. But what I can tell you is, that they live in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in America. I've heard.
Yeah, they live in 297 Baker's Knob.
Of course, the headquarters is in Stamford, so they live in Connecticut naturally.
Yeah.
Good place to choose it, right next to New York City. Why not? It was like when they had WrestleMania 20 where it all begins again. That was one of the greatest pay-per-views, I thought, for the Ruthless Aggression era. With Vince, the guy had a lot of ideas, and I always heard that if his father had known what he was going to do with the company, he wouldn't have sold it to him. Vince always seen everything to the cutting edge with what he was doing. Yeah, he had to turn up the voltage on what he was doing to try to surpass WCW, because when the golden era was happening, it was just kind of plain and boring. It was my thoughts is it's a little bit above the PG era. I mean, the golden era is great. I'm not going to knock on it. I'm not a fan of the PG era. It's too boring for me. I don't care for it. I don't know who's even wrestling in it now. But what I can tell you is the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression era was when everything was at its peak. It was ingrained in pop culture.
I would say like my top three like wrestling eras are. It's going to be the Attitude, Ruthless Aggression, and the Golden Era.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. The same thing.
And then the worst eras are the era after the Golden Era and before the Attitude Era.
After the Golden Era was the Attitude Era, wasn't it?
No, it was like at the Golden Era, and then from like 92 to like 97 was a different era. I think it was
the In Your House era, right?
In Your House era.
Yeah, because it was WWF In Your House.
Yeah,
and then it was funny, the whole thing with Vince McMahon starting up the whole WrestleMania thing. He was on vacation, allegedly, from what I heard, and he just had this idea, WrestleMania. Welcome to WrestleMania! It was the most spectacular theatrical event known to man. So, when it happened, it was like, hey, you have, all the other, the NFL has the Super Bowl, the, MLB has the World Series, the NHL has the Stanley Cup, soccer's got their main event, NBA's got their championship thing, and, college collegiate sports have the national championship. So
Yeah.
I mean, why not have, why shouldn't WrestleMania have their grand stage of them all? And it's like with the Slam, what is it? The Slammy Awards. It's like the Oscars of, for wrestling. I mean, hey, the Oscars, they got their thing. Why can't they have theirs?
Theirs, yeah. That's
it's a part of pop culture. Everybody knows it's predetermined. But that doesn't stop people from being fans of it.
Yeah, I think like that's what I'm saying. Like what Vince McMahon has done is like he's turned wrestling into like it's still a sport in a sense, but he's turned it to like
an athletic entertainment.
Yeah, he turned it and he just said bam because he's been around for a while, but like he created these characters in like the 80s to the early 90s.
He had his father running it, Vincent J. McMahon. Vince, his dad, Vince Senior, who was. Doing whatever it was. And I remember when Hogan went into movies beforehand, he was all like, from what I heard, his dad was telling him, hey, man, if you do this movie, I'm not going to hire you back. You're fired. So he went and took a dive, decided to go into movies. And, when he did that, he went into Rocky. That's what blew up his persona. That's what made Hulk Hogan a pop culture icon because he went into Rocky. When he did that Rocky movie, everybody said that's when he blew up. That's what made Hulkamania even bigger and better and more spectacular. And whenever you think of pro wrestling, you think of Hulk Hogan. I mean, he's the Elvis of pro wrestling.
Yeah, dude. It was interesting. I was watching like Hulk Hogan in the golden era, and he had that feud with it was the feud with Macho Man Randy Savage, which was another guy I loved, man. Rest in peace, dude. Rest in peace, man. But he was in there and he was like, "Look here, brother. We had all the like he was all disappointed. He says we used to take our vitamins together." Are you sure nothing else happened together?
It makes me question. But no, I remember he had WrestleMania or whatever it was. He had Mr. T in there with him.
Yeah,
Mr. T and Hulk Hogan were partners at some time or whatever. And who can't see Mr. T doing something? Mr. T's everywhere. Now he's in ministry.
But it's crazy. Like Mr. T used to be like you said WWF.
Yeah,
like he was in Rocky 3.
And then he had Devo from the Friday movies.
Yeah, he was in wrestling. Yeah, like it's crazy.
He expressed Hogan was like his older brother to him. He guided him.
I was gonna say a thing because we like a lot of people. If you don't know Devo, he plays the bully on Friday, and he always plays but he's a pretty Tall dude.
Yeah, Tiny Lister is his real name. Tiny, if you're listening to this, man, I don't know if you're gonna catch this out there on the West Coast, but man, we respect you, and we think that you should have gotten we should have had more longevity out of your wrestling career,
especially his movie career.
His movie career. I mean, everybody knows who he is. And everybody knows what he's known for. But I'd say, dude, if you can, I mean, I know you're, that's all past work and whatever you're doing, you're probably good right now. But
after the show, I got to show you this one video where it's like Tiny Lister, aka Debo, he played in a movie where it was like hip hop and honey. It was Brown Sugar or whatever.
Yeah.
And he played this Suge Knight type of and he was the tough. Really tough guy, but he was soft. He had a soft side, so he was hiring these new two rappers, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Come on in," and they saw his chains and everything, and he was like,
"You gotta just show it to me, dude."
It was so funny, but he was
he was what he also did the whole thing where he was president of the United States in what was it, The Fifth Element.
Oh yeah, he was in that.
He did The Fifth Element, man.
Oh, Chris Tucker was in that.
That was 20 years ago when that came out. Jeez, dude. That just knows you. I mean, that was after years after Bruce Willis blew up, man.
That
was way before The Sixth Sense. It was way before everything else.
But I was gonna say, when I found out Tiny Lister used to be in wrestling, that's pretty cool. But he needs to do one more movie. He's pretty tall, but I knew somebody that met him, and he said that Tiny Lister was just a really nice guy.
He was. Everybody says he's a cool dude.
Cool dude. He's not vicious, but
he's an actor. That's just what he gets paid.
But that would suck if he was
man! If he lived up to it, I'll tell you what. Great heel. The guy could play a great
heel. That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised he never played Devo as a heel, dude.
Yeah, as a heel in the WWF at that time. But it was. But yeah, I mean, with that, it was, you had, with everything in that company, it was funny, you would expect with Vince McMahon. Vince was you'd expect with him that he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but no, he came out of a trailer park during his youth. He lived in a trailer park, and he wasn't reunited with his dad until he was about 12 years old, because his parents divorced when he was an infant. So, but he went through a string of stepfathers, and he always had a rough time with them. And the guy, it was funny. I learned all this from a documentary of his, and the guy went through a lot of adversity, and he came out to where he was today, and he felt that he was gravitated towards the wrestling business, and he was gravitated towards that. And his dad was very reluctant to it and said, no, I want you to be, something more secure, like an accountant or a lawyer. Dude, if you're not eligible to be either, it's like, why go for that? You know what I'm saying? It's and Vince had the ideas. Vince, which is, I guess this is why he's a workaholic, because he loves what he does. He's addicted to working as he is, so, but, there came a time, I guess, now that he's much older than he has been, I think that when it came down to it, I think that, the company's lost its edge, and I know it caters to little kids now and they want it to be, all safe and fun, but, back then it catered to guys like me and D here, back when it was, running with attitude, and back when they didn't care, when Vince didn't care what anybody thought,
Yeah,
he was under a lot of scrutiny for
like the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression era. It was like there was no holds barred down. Like it was just great, entertainment, great wrestling, and it's weird. It's like entertainment has become more violent, but like wrestling has more like they're trying to cater to the kids. But like honestly, man, it's just like one of those things where it's like, you need to bring it back for at least one night. That type of like
I'd say, hey, parents lock the kids at home.
Yeah,
they used to have a. I remember WWF used to have a thing that back when it was WWF, they had a videotape going, "Kids, put your parents to bed and tune in," and they were all like, kids all had to show you the video clip of it, but. I remember the interviewer asking Vince about that, and he was highly offended. He's like, "Oh, come on! You don't have a sense of humor about that? What kid puts their parents to bed? That's what's funny about it."
But could you imagine some kid that was about to watch like wrestling in the Attitude Era?
Yeah.
He was like, "Mom, Dad,
please
go to bed. Go to bed."
All right.
They come out like, who the heck you told you go to bed?
Yeah, who tells it? But that's unrealistic, but it's funny. It's what makes good TV. And back when I tell you what though, it was funny with now we're talking about this. It was funny I've been hearing about, you have that one UFC fighter, McGregor, always talking about I remember him talking about how he respects the guys from the Attitude Era. He's like, I respect, Stone Cold and The Rock and those guys. But I remember he was calling out Cena. He called Cena like a 40-year-old failed Mr. Olympia or something like that. A fat 40-year-old failed Mr. Olympia.
Damn, dude.
And it was hilarious. And with that, and I know people who've said, "Oh, John Cena ruined my childhood," and back when he first started, I thought he was entertaining when he did his rapper gimmick and everything else. I thought it was funny. But I don't know, when he quit doing that, it just wasn't fun anymore. The laughter stopped for me.
But like I think what it is that like I don't mind him, but it's such a downgrade. You had Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Macho Man.
Yeah.
Stone Cold, Rock.
The Bret Hart.
Bret Hart, yeah.
Shawn Michaels. You had you had Taker, you had The Rock, you had, all them. And, it is with a downgrade. And, I think it's I think his whole gimmick is just overdone, and it's on overkill, the whole whatever, hustle, loyalty, respect, hustle, loyalty, respect thing is all, overdone, the jean shorts thing, the whole, whatever. If that's your thing, fine. But dude, I mean, they just shove him down our throats. I mean, you can't make him any more famous than he already is.
Oh, but I think what it is,
Like, there's nowhere he can go.
I think he's just not as interesting as like the other guys. Like,
No, he wasn't.
Like, but like, here's the thing. Who do you think was like okay in Attitude Era? Like, he had a bunch of famous guys, but the top guys in the WWE Attitude Era were The Rock and Stone Cold. Like, who do you think was like hands down better? Like, define the era more.
I don't know. I mean, you had one of them with an attitude that liked to go around stomping a mud hole in people and drinking beer, and then you had the other one who virtually did stand-up comedy while he was on stage. He was virtually The Rock was virtually doing stand-up comedy.
Like the thing is, like they were both like the anti-hero, and like they represented like the people, but like even with DX, like the same thing. Like they represent like they were kind of like the against the establishment.
That's the way to go about it. You be the anti-hero, and you do you. And you don't follow the rules so much. And look at Cena. He's just following the rules too much. And he never used to be. He used to be the anti-hero when he was rapping, wearing throwback jerseys, bumping up his Reeboks, man. I remember that. And I remember that guy. And that guy was cool. And you never knew what he was going to do next. He was so unpredictable. Now it's just... the guy is so predictable. Like, I mean, you could counter everything that he does before he even thinks about trying to surprise you. It's like, dude, we know everything. Come on, you're a very predictable individual, and I mean, there are going to be a lot of people who are going to give us heat for saying that about him, and then there are going to be a lot of people who say, "Hey, you know what? I couldn't have said it better myself."
But like I do like, even though I like the Rock more, but like I love Stone Cold. Like, Stone Cold was like, he was just that super like badass, and like he like every time they walk and that like intro,
and he'd even come out on his Polaris. Four-wheeler there, his ATV Polaris, he would come out on his out in the entrance, he would do that.
But I was gonna say, like, another thing about like the people like people or trolls now say that like this era is better because like when it comes to the WWE divas, the female wrestlers, it's like, but like. They always say like they wrestle better, but no, dude, I don't think so. Like,
I don't think so either.
But like Attitude Era, like you had a few of them, but they could at least wrestle. Like China was a good wrestler.
China was
Sable. Lita
was flying everywhere,
dude. Like the thing about Lita, like
I love and respected the women on that. They were wonderful, beautiful women that could wrestle, and I love that. These girls today, it's just I don't know. I've seen a little bit of it. Let me tell you something. I watched the last WrestleMania. I only watched a couple of matches, and I was very bored to tears. I mean, the Hardys, that was probably the only interesting part about it. And every time when I heard about Cena engaging whatever it was with his woman, and I was like, dude, you know what? I mean, whatever I looked up, every page, every time, right after WrestleMania was everybody, John Cena gets engaged, John Cena gets engaged. It was on every headline, and I'm like, dude, who cares? He's like everybody else. Honestly, people get engaged every day. I mean, what makes him special? Because he's just a charismatic individual. Honestly, I mean, I was so bored with that WrestleMania. I just wasn't happy with it. I got up and left. Wherever I was, I was like, man, this is boring.
Like the thing about it, even back then, like back in the Attitude Era, like the women would wrestle with the men, like they were on par, like they were like, and they had like crazy stuff. Like I think Lita by far is my favorite. One of my favorite wrestlers because like she had the moves, she could wrestle.
Yeah, they weren't afraid to take hits.
Like, and the thing about her is like she didn't use that much of her sex appeal. Like she was cute, but like she had a great persona. Like, and everybody loved her. Like everybody used to crowd the chairs for her, man.
Everybody loved her when she was doing the whole thing with the Hardys.
Hardys, yeah.
I mean, and then when the Hardys broke it off, it was just kind of I'll always remember Matt Hardy's theme. I can slap a tornado. And then Jeff Hardy having those whatever that doom thing.
You know what the most like the dumbest like theme song in that era was I think it was Edge's theme song.
But you think
You know me? like what the hell? Like did she know me?
I love that. Wait, let's do it one more time.
You think you know me?
That was a great way to start off a message, man. Great way to start off a theme song. I mean, you had Christian's theme song, but yeah, Edge's was just kind of. Hold on, you know what? I'll even play Edge's theme song. All right, and all right, D. What else? What other kind of theme songs did you like and not like?
I like Triple H's first theme.
What? Whatever. It
No,
was.
the one is like. Well,
then he had the other one when he was a blue blood aristocrat.
Oh yeah, that one was like I didn't like that one. That was, but like the one I liked, the second one after that was pretty badass. Like it was just like for me like like.
All right, you ready? For those of you who do not know Edge's theme.
This is his theme back in the Attitude Era of WWF.
Oh, this was great. I love this. Just hold on. You ready?
You think you know me?
Oh, wait, that was the wrong one. That was the 02 one. All right, hold on.
But it was so random.
Yeah, you think you know? Okay, hold on.
You think you know me? It was just so random.
Yeah, but it was.
Yeah, it like type in. It was 1999 Edge's theme.
Yeah, wait.
You think you know me?
There, that's the other one.
Yeah, but hey, but it would be crazy if like so somebody gets in an argument and you play that song.
Like, you know what? And you what if I said that to what's his face? That one guy. That got into an argument. That guy's brother. You know.
Oh yeah.
I go. You know what? You don't. But
You think you know me?
Like what the?
Hey, how about the other one? So you think you're untouchable? Word life.
Like, but I liked. But yeah, man. Like,
But yeah, but what's great about what wrestling is you can be any Joe as long as you work hard. You take care of yourself, man, and you're charismatic and you're good on the mic. You can be anything, man. That's the positive thing. That's what you can be. You just got to believe in yourself and do it, and not think about it. I mean, look at The Rock and Stone Cold. The Rock being, as he is, he's hosted SNL 5 times?
5 times. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
5-time host. 5-time SNL host.
Well, wasn't there wrestling? Is like the 2-time. It was like
It was Booker T. He was
Booker T.
5-time WCW champion. Now can you dig it, sucker?
It'd be crazy. Some dude is like mocking him. He's like, how many times did you date dudes? 5 times.
All right, how many times did you use John today? 5 times. 5 times. And you know what? Wait, I didn't do it 5 times, but you think you know me?
It was just the craziest thing.
Oh man.
But anyways, we gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta get out of here. We're gonna go grab something to eat.
My name is D. This is Lady Killer. Tune in next week while we BS some more.